What is going on, Movie Meals? Movie Meals, apologies if I cough. I can't get over it. We're rocking the sweater today. Probably a bad call. It's very warm in this apartment. Thank you, Movie Meal patrons. Kimberly and Karen, go get some merch, guys. We're going to give away one of these awesome... Oh, I got it upside down here.
Let's see
One
it.
of these awesome hoodies that I'm not wearing because I wanted to rock the sweater for game day, and it might have been a poor choice. But go you can get one of these on your own if you so desire, but we are also going to give one away. Help us share the videos around, like it, and leave comments. If we're going to give it to an engaged fan who's helping us once we reach 2,000. That's our goal. We're really close. We're only about 70 subs away.
Wow.
So
that's actually really close. That's awesome.
Kyle doesn't check the analytics here. He's got opinions on him, but he never checks them. Anyway,
they are sound and valid.
Go do all that stuff. We're here back with the podcast. We will review The Boy and the Heron as soon as Kyle steps up and sees the dang thing. I saw it
on the list.
Absolutely loved it. Can't wait to talk about it.
Can't wait.
So let's get into the combo here. Kyle, what's first on the docket today as I roll up my sleeves, try to air these bad boys out a little bit?
Let's start off with a little bit of Star Wars, huh? There's rumblings now that Mandalorian Season 4 is possibly going to be a movie, not like a season of a show, which, upon hearing this news, I first thought that this was already like a rumored thing, but Alex, you were...
Kyle just makes stuff up.
I clearly make stuff up, but Alex did remind me later on before recording that there was a rumor that one of the Star Wars movies coming up is like the combination of all the shows into a
Dave
movie.
Filoni is doing a movie. The rumor that his movie was going to be an Avengers style of all the shows. Yeah, that's what the rumor around his movie would be. But that,
Gotcha.
But Jon Favreau is Mando. So, and Dave does it with him. So I think this is more
Pedro
about
Pascal
Favreau.
is Mando.
Facts. Well, depends on who you ask.
We don't know.
There was also reports. There were reports that he might be in the suit even less than he already is right now because of his schedule for the next year. Yeah, if he is going to be doing Reed Richards as well as The Last of Us, which, to be honest, forget the Fantastic Four. Give me Last of Us Season 2. Are you kidding me? I don't care about Fantastic Four nearly.
Yeah, that casting, man. I hope it turns out good. I just...
Anyway,
it's fine.
The biggest thing I've been seeing about this lack of Star Wars news, or this Star Wars news, is that people are big Star Wars people are losing their minds that we're not getting anything, that they're going to go a while without getting something. And I can't believe that that's the narrative. Hallelujah. It's a Christmas miracle. I want a year of no Star Wars content. I want an entire year at the least of no Star Wars content, and I'm including the shows. So to me, this is great. Big Bob, for all of his faults, has said we need to start focusing back on quality instead of quantity. We need to get back into the theater, and that's what we need to do, especially with Marvel and Star Wars. They both need it. They need it. Marvel, yes, I would take Andor. If they said Andor was dropping tomorrow, I would be so happy. I'm okay waiting on Andor. I waited a long time to get that project. I listened to a lot of people say that project was stupid and dumb, and look at where it got us. Because they put their time into that project. Put time into the project. It sounds like the only thing we're supposed to get next year is Skeleton Crew, which I still think could be really fun. And I like John Watts a lot. So I'm here. I'm here for this. I think this is great. If they're going to rework Mando to be a movie, honestly, that might be better for Pedro's schedule, and he might be able to do more. He says, too, he can't be in the suit because he sustained a really bad shoulder injury, that it's just because he can't literally physically hold all that weight in the suit anymore. So it makes sense. People bash him for, why put him in the suit? He needs to be in it. Let the man, heal. Goodness. But I think this is, if we are getting a movie, great. I would love to see Mando on the big screen. I would love to see them do more with Mandalore, go to war, battle it out, do some cool stuff. on the big screen. That sounds great to me. I love it. I love it. Thoughts?
Not really. I mean, I almost lost my train of thought there. I mean, I still would like Mandalorian to be sticking with its show format more than a movie. I just would rather see something else within Star Wars be a movie instead. But that doesn't mean like a movie for Mandalorian would be bad. It's just I've been fine with it as a TV show to begin with. But um, hopefully they do stick by what Disney's apparently saying, and that they pull back on so much, Marvel stuff, so much Star Wars stuff, because I think these past couple of years, like, we've just learned a valuable lesson when it comes to oversaturation and wanting too much of a good thing, because eventually it just will not feel like as special as it once did. So, yeah, just a good lesson, and I hope they actually stick with that. But you never know when it comes to these franchises and these sorts of decisions. But hey, hopefully that becomes the case.
Mm-hmm. What's next?
I'm looking at the list here. Do you want to talk about the Max and
Yeah,
A24 deal that just came up? Moving
sure.
forward, A24 movies are going to exclusively be streaming on HBO Max, which I'm happy to see that A24 is going to, or has found a way to make their stuff more widely known, and for more people to go out and give their movies a chance, even if they didn't see them in theaters. Maybe on streaming, they'll get even more of a second life than maybe on just only VOD or wherever else they might have been streaming. So I'm not going to give the heads of Max any credit for doing this, because they are businessmen. It's their job to make business happen, and they wanted actors to be homeless, so screw them. But for A24 side of things, who are actually supportive when it comes to the strikes, yeah, good for them. You guys made a good call here.
Yeah, no, I think this is a really good choice. It's interesting that it is Max that chose to do this when they're the ones who license out literally everything to any other streaming platform they can get any extra money for. That then they would be the ones to go and buy these rights. I would have guessed a Netflix would have been the one to do this over an A24 or a Max, but
Sure.
I think this is great. There are a handful of A24 movies already on Max, like The Green Knight I know has been on there for a long time and things like
I
that.
think I
Great
saw High
Christmas.
Life. Yeah,
Great
High
Christmas
Life.
movie, The Green Knight. Great Christmas movie. It is a Christmas film. It takes place over Christmas. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I know what you're thinking.
Interesting
Get it
choice.
out of your thought. Get that out of your head.
Okay.
It is.
I will agree. Green Knight's an awesome movie. It rules.
No, I'm talking about Die Hard now. Die
Well,
Hard's a
that's
Christmas
also
movie.
an awesome movie.
If you think Die Hard is not a Christmas movie, then Home Alone is not a Christmas movie.
Home Alone has the Christmas themes.
So does Die Hard.
Well,
The
does it
entire
though?
central plot of the movie takes place over Christmas Eve. The only reason he's there is because they're having an end of the year Christmas Eve party.
Happens.
Santa's everywhere.
Santa's everywhere.
Ho, 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 I have a machine gun now, pal. What are you talking about right now?
Hey, I'm just speaking the truth. What everyone doesn't want to admit, but myself.
Go watch the movie, and I want you to make a little tally mark of any time Christmas is mentioned, there's anything that involves themes, any of that.
Well, the themes is going to be 0, so I hate to spoil that for you.
You think you're funny over here, pal.
I think I'm hilarious.
Comment in the comments. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Anyway, this is great for Max. They need to have A24 movies. I think that's excellent. But yeah, that's all I got. I think they need to do this. Smart business move. Yes, I hate these studio heads after everything they were pulling, but they are businessmen, like Kyle said, and this is a good business move. So
yeah. Well, speaking of business, should we talk about Apple Plus and Paramount Plus? I think that's their names.
Yeah, they're combining.
Yeah, a big old bundling package. Does it?
Hulu and Disney Plus are doing that as well. That came
Yeah.
out last week. We didn't get a chance to talk about that, but yeah, they're doing that as well. But go ahead.
Yeah. So I take it this means that it's going to be like one streaming service now, or is it just like a 2-for-1 special type of thing?
I think it's going to combine into one.
Okay. I still probably won't get it. I don't know. Like, I'm just weird when it comes to streaming. Like, there's just even still with the bundling that's going on, there still is like so much picking and choosing on like what you want to watch and how much time you need to have to watch certain things. And I like Apple, but I there's only like a few handful of shows that like I really want to watch once, and then it's not really like a rewatchability factor to me. And Paramount, like they've gotten better since being like the Star Trek streaming app or whatever it used to be, but I don't know. Even still, I see stuff on Paramount. I'm like, I'm good. Like nothing's really
No, yeah,
clamoring
they're
for
not a
me to
great
go.
streaming. They're not a great streaming service. By far, they're probably the bottom of the tier. Apple
Mm,
is low key one of the best, arguably the
yeah,
best. I think
yeah.
their content is fantastic. I have been meaning to re up my subscription. I want to. Godzilla -1 came out, and I just want to get on all this Godzilla Kong stuff. They got shows out right now. I want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Brie Larson's got a show on there that's getting lots of love called Lessons in Chemistry. I've been wanting to
Okay.
watch that. I years ago, when Disney Plus announced, was at my cousin's graduation party. I got into a heated debate with my brother, with a couple others, and only one person was on my side, and that's our good friend Caleb. Caleb and I,
Mm-hmm.
we go in on Christmas sweaters together, just ordered a new pair. We get matching Christmas sweaters. Fantastic guy. Anyway, we were the only two who said eventually the streaming services are going to need a bundle. They're going to have no choice. It's going to revert back to cable in
Mm-hmm.
that you will buy bundles. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Disney has been doing it for a while. You buy a bundle to get their three services. Now they're combining it into one. Smart. People don't this is why physical media stores were popular back in the day. People want to go and have everything there. They don't want to have to go buy. They don't want to go to one store and then the other store. It's like they want to be able to go to one place. So it always made sense. That's business. It's always made sense. It's business. You want that.
Mm-hmm.
So Disney has owned Hulu forever. The fact that it took them this long is ridiculous because they're just losing money having three streaming services. Make it into one massive streaming service. Amazon can do it. They put it on with Amazon Prime. They got 800 other things going on, and they're handling it better. Paramount makes sense. Paramount was like, we're going to get on this game and realize that no one cares about Paramount Plus. The only reason to ever get Paramount Plus is when they play CBS games. That's probably half their subscription base is because CBS is so hard to get NFL games and baseball, soccer, basketball, all that stuff when they're hosting.
Mm-hmm.
So this makes complete sense. They should just and Apple, excuse me. Apple has a terrible platform. Like the way that their Apple Plus is laid out is by far the worst. It's not user friendly. It's very difficult to get into things. They need a better platform. Paramount's platform is solid. It's very similar to Netflix, very similar to HBO. It's solid. They need to bundle it up into one, call it Para Apple Plus, I don't know, and move on. I think we should ditch the pluses. There's no reason to have pluses. But this is also,
trend.
if you are a consumer, this is better. You want this. This is why the argument that I've always stood on is that at the end of the day, it's just going to revert back to cable because people want to be able to get everything in one place. They don't want to have to buy 15 streaming platforms to get one thing. They want to be able to open up one and say, okay, here we go. If you can dwindle that down to 3, it's going to be much better for the consumer. I'm willing to pay for 3 bundled up platforms that have so many things other than 10. I just at the end of the day am. So that's what's going to be better. I mean, if it's $50 a month, then we'll have a different conversation. But that is what at the end of the day is going to be better. And that's why you should always be buying physical media. This isn't on the docket, Kyle, but I'm sure you saw the news. Sony is just removing options. So if you went in on your PlayStation and you purchased, let's say, Across the Spider-Verse, you purchased it, you bought that. So you have the digital rights to it on your Sony store. They're taking that away from you. This is why you should always be buying physical media. It's why I have always continued to buy physical media for the last 15 years. Been made fun of but I stand by it. The other day, Autumn
Yeah.
and I were like, let's watch. I want to watch Lincoln. She was like, that sounds great. How do we watch it? What platform's it on? Psh, I own it. Went and pulled it out of the old case, popped her in. You kidding me?
But I do want to say there is a good point within there in terms of asking what streaming service is it on when it comes to Lincoln, because how would anyone know that? How would anyone know the answer to that question? Like my
You Google
issue
it.
with streaming services
That's how I find it out. I have to Google it
is,
all the time.
well, okay, but like even still, I just feel like, but even still, like those articles may not be up to date. Like
No, I'm agreeing with you. That's what the
yeah,
dumb part. You have to sit there and Google it and be like, oh, it's on here, here, here. You go to the first place, it's actually not there. And you're
yeah,
like,
because it
oh, it
got
got
removed or
removed the other
something.
day and
Like
Google's behind. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
there's no way of keeping track so well of where everything is. Even for something like a Paramount Plus, nobody in their head is thinking like, boy, I gotta watch a Paramount movie and I know exactly where to go. Like no one thinks like that.
Doesn't
Like this,
Paramount Plus have The Office? Isn't that why? Isn't that a huge reason they have any
it's
subscribers? Is because they have The Office?
it's that or Peacock. But again, like you almost have to like look into the business of things, being like, what company owns the mega company and who owns what property. Like, yeah, you almost have to get into the weeds of like figuring out what's on what streaming services, and no one wants to think like that. No one wants to think like a businessman. They want to come home from their 8 to 5 job and just watch The Office. So
So they
I
can be
just
reminded of their job. Like a paper company.
yeah, exactly. But you know what I mean. Like I just think it's just hasn't become a good tool to watch what you want to watch, because I just think no one really understands like how to find the thing they want to watch as well. So
Exactly.
that's just my
Exactly.
little rant too.
No, I agree with you completely.
It's all a broken
And
system.
half of the streaming services, half of the content they put out is garbage. Netflix does not always put out banger after banger.
Hmm.
They did just put out Leave the World Behind. Watched that last night. Banger. Did enjoy
Hmm.
that a lot. Really enjoyed that. But they've put out a lot of other stuff that hasn't been great. So,
Hmm. And
you know,
you can say that too about like cable. Obviously, like there was garbage on cable for sure, still is,
true. Good point.
um, but I don't know. At the very least, you knew like how to switch away from it. Like you didn't feel like if you went onto one streaming service that you were like, well, I'm here now. I might as well at least find something good. Like almost forcing yourself in a way. Whereas with cable, I
Mm-hmm.
don't think you really felt that same sort of force, because growing up, how often would you see your parents just nope, 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 just like constantly flipping through the channel until they found the right one? Like it's just a more simplistic process compared to like going to the one app and then scrolling for so long and then being like, well, I've already scrolled for this long. I might as well just pick the one thing that I can rewatch on that app, even though I didn't really want to. Like, I don't know. There's just been so many clear flaws when it comes to streaming now that clearly I'm just over it.
Yeah. Um, I bet you DVR is a big reason we have the streaming platforms we have today, because studios were looking and being like, oh, mom and dad aren't flipping through 100 channels and stopping on ours.
Mhm.
They've DVR'd Friends, every episode of Friends that's ever existed, my mom and dad who did that. And that's all they're watching.
Mhm.
What are we supposed to, what are let's just give them all a Friends in one go. Let's put that
Right.
on Netflix. Let's give that to Netflix. Then Netflix was like, we can't afford it anymore. It costs us $100 million just to keep that dang show.
Yeah.
Where even is
Yeah.
Friends these days? I don't even know what. Oh, it's on Max, because it's a Max production. It's Warner Brothers production, so that makes more sense. All right, let's move on.
But yeah,
That's the point. Yeah, that's the
I,
point. That's the
yeah,
point.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Bundle them
Yeah.
all
So we
together. Super Plus. Let's call it. Let's just call it Plus. All streaming
television.
services just called Plus.
Television's the new plus.
Yeah.
Anyway, I saw that the top 20 finalists for the visual effects within the Academy Awards got announced, and I saw that on Twitter there was a flurry of
Firestorm.
a firestorm of the lack of Oppenheimer being part of the conversation, which I don't know. I just saw a lot of heat when it comes to it, and I agree with the people who are frustrated with that, because I think especially nowadays when it comes to visual effects, the thought process for nominations comes more from the idea of how much there is of VFX and whether it looks good or not to an extent. Um, and Oppenheimer, had those headlines of saying like there was very few visual effects when it comes to that. There was more practical effects that came into the making of the movie compared to like CGI and those sorts of tools. And it just feels like when it comes to this category, when it comes to the visual effects category within the Oscars, there is a lost understanding that practical effects could probably be incorporated into visual effects, and those need to be thought about that more. So it does surprise me that the people who work in visual effects who get to nominate these movies, or at least
Yeah,
get
and
to,
that's important. That's an important note, I think, for the audience.
yeah, yeah,
It's not a bunch of wackos who don't know anything about movies at the Academy Awards nominating them.
hmm
It's the VFX artists who are members of the Academy who are
hmm
nominating them. You can
yeah,
argue what their diverse range is, but it's them. It's the large group of VFX artists that vote for these 25 and then up to our 5 finalists. So just
yes,
be aware of that. Continue.
yes.
I wanted to point that out.
Um, yeah, but so I find it very interesting that the people who are a part of this category had an oversight when it comes to that, and it makes me really think even more so now that when it comes to what they think about in terms of this category, that they think about like the most of like CGI. Um, maybe that's like a bit of a stretch.
And maybe
Like
they're
maybe
just
not.
voting for the movies they worked on.
It could be that too, but I
I
don't
have a
know.
question that I
Yeah, go
think you're
ahead.
very qualified to answer.
Okay.
Why? Because I don't understand, and this is what you do. Why is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse as an animated film in this category at all? That's what confuses me. Why would an animated film be in here for best VFX? And then my follow-up question is, why is a movie like The Boy and the Heron not? Because I would argue The Boy and the Heron's better animation than, and is it because it's hand drawn? And I don't even know if Boy and the Heron was. Start with my first
hmm
question. I'll do some research.
I mean, I'm not sure how many anime movies have even been like finalized or have even been nominated within this category, to be honest. I just don't know off the top of my head, but I would assume that because of Spider-Man's quote unquote flashy unique animation style that probably did use quite a bit of visual effects work, um is probably seen as like the most of using that compared to The Boy and the Heron, which I would think within this category they're probably thinking 2D animation with some 3D animation, but compared to Across the Spider-Verse, it's not like the most or not the most impressive even.
Sure.
Um, I don't know if
Looks like
I don't
Boy and
know
the
if I would agree
Heron.
with that idea, but that's just what I would guess.
Looks like Boy and the Heron was hand drawn, and
hmm
Kyle and I know we've told this a million times. We're in a movie club with a bunch of our friends, watch a movie every couple weeks, get on a call and talk about it. One of the movies we watched was Princess Mononoke, and we talked about how that was the first time Miyazaki used VFX and CGI, and he used it to help and assist. And
hmm
it sounds like that's what they kind of did here with The Boy and the Heron, that they used cell animation CGI to kind of just assist when needed. Um, I don't think animation should be here. The VFX artists would know better. I do see what you're saying, Kyle, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Um, but I also think it's just, this is my side of it that I think is funny. When I saw people freaking out, I laughed because in June, in May, the
hmm
narrative was, oh my gosh, I can't wait for Oppenheimer. Did you see that article that they redid the atomic bomb explosion
hmm
without visual effects? It's all non-visual effects. It's practical effects. This is incredible.
The return
They're
of cinema.
the return of cinema. And now the
Yeah.
narrative is, how is this not in the best VFX category? This is ridiculous. And I do think, and remember, it is the VFX artists who are voting for it, and that's what the debate needs to be had. There are
hmm
plenty of Academy voters
Excuse
who
me.
don't see these movies when they vote. They vote based off of what they think is popular. I probably would assume that's less so for VFX artists, makeup artists, the costume designers. I think they do tend to see these movies a lot more than like the actors. Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
And I think it's because they go and they're like, oh my gosh, did you see the creator, the style of animation they used and CGI, I mean, that they used for that? Let's go check that out. A bunch of VFX artists go together, and I think. But look, at the end of the day, I would have probably been surprised if Oppenheimer was in their top 5. I get the point. Should it have probably been in the top 25? I'd put it in over Spider-Man just because I'm not an animator and I don't fully understand that process. Again, I think Kyle makes incredibly smart points with what he was saying. But then again, I also look at how do you put one animated movie in and not another? There have been other really good animated movies. Like, why is Mario not in here? Did Mario not use a bunch of CGI? Like, and to me, that screams popularity. We pick a movie that we think is very popular. Granted, I'm always good for Across Spider-Verse being in any of this, in any of these things. A movie like Naiad, Kyle and I both saw it, which we really liked. And why is that in here? Like, how does that have any visual effects? Like,
actually, I know that I'm kind of like going against your example, but Naiad actually did use some visual effects when it comes to.
I'm with you, but like when
you
look at a movie like that, you aren't thinking visual effects. You do think of that when you see Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania because it's so dominant. You know what I'm saying? I'm agreeing with you here on the point.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to put Naiad in over some of these movies that look bad.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
But like, first of all, Godzilla -1, love that being in here. I think the creator, it deserves to be in here.
It's the most, but it is beautiful stuff. Like,
it is. It looks great.
It makes sense.
Like Transformers: Rise of the Beast, that makes very much sense to being in here. Yes, the movie is bad, but I'll tell you right now, Transformers looked better than Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny half the time. It looked way better than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. It looked better. It probably will look better than Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom would be my guess. For a minute, I was like, why is Avatar not here? But Avatar was last year. Wonka will be really interesting to see because I think
they float in the air.
The Oompa Loompa. I think why can't I think of the actor's name who's just
Hugh
bashing
Grant.
his movie? Hugh Grant. His press run is incredible. Between him and Ridley Scott, I'm loving these press runs. He's sitting here and he's like, I hated every moment of being on set. I hated everything about it. I hated wearing the suit. I hated everything. And it looks, I think, obviously Wonka's getting some great praise. Makes me a lot more interested to see it than I was because I think the trailers look horrendously bad. But I think the Oompa Loompas look really bad. Napoleon is a movie. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, I think, belongs in here.
Sure,
Guardians 3 would be probably my choice, or Godzilla -1 or The Creator would be my top 3 picks to win this category anyway. I would pick these other movies over Oppenheimer myself. So,
okay, yeah.
And Rebel Moon. Rebel Moon, looks like it's going to be incredible. I'm excited to see that. I'm honest to God, the reason I'm excited to see it has nothing to do with Zack Snyder, but the balls on the man. Like, because we have friends who you say Zack Snyder and they think glass breaks and how dare you. And I like some of Zack's movies, but the fact that he went in, wrote a Star Wars movie, walked into Lucasfilm, said, here's an idea I have for a Star Wars movie. They said, we will never make that in a million years. He said, okay. And he went to Netflix and he said, hey, can I make my Star Wars movie, just not call it Star Wars? And they're like, yes, please. I'm excited to see what a director would have done in Star Wars. That's just different. Like, I'm excited to see what was going on in Zach's head for this. That makes me excited. Also, Kyle, I'm going off topic here, baby.
Oh, I know.
Kyle.
I know. Take it away.
I saw this on the news this morning before we got on.
Oh, let's hear it.
There are rumors that Netflix is trying to get the rights to bring the Snyderverse to Netflix. Not only, obviously, the movies that are already on there, but that they will get the rights to continue to make the movies, and they're going to let Zach make them and bring all the actors back and continue his Snyderverse. There are rumors that is happening as of today. And Kyle, how much do you want to jump off a balcony right now?
Oh, the highest balcony you can find. However, I did thought I saw something that Zack Snyder finally came out and said Snyderverse is dead, but I'm not sure.
He says that till Netflix, beep, beep, beep. Here's
For
that dump
sure.
truck of money.
For sure. But I hope after making stuff like Rebel Moon, he finds a different lane.
Yeah.
And if we can just move on from it. I don't even know how that negotiation would work. Like how you would be able to get the rights to like these big
Honestly,
properties, but it's only for like one guy who made them, not all of them, kind of. Like I don't know how that would ever be able
but
to work. I don't
you
think it
know
could.
Zazzy Boy. You know, if Netflix walked in and said, all right, here's what we want. We're going to continue the Snyderverse. We want the rights to all the contracts with the actors. We want the rights to be able to put these movies out. We will only put them on Netflix. We will not release them wide release so it doesn't compete with your James Gunn stuff. But we want to be able to continue it because we know fans really want it. We will give you $300 million. He's going to be like, absolutely, here, take everybody. Take them all. Because I
Again,
need that.
or unless if he doesn't want what he probably views as like the major thing to acquire and take control of in DC, he may not want something to counter program that or oversaturate
Probably.
that.
No, at the end of
Uh,
the day, I think
that's
probably.
just
But
that would be my
knowing
one
him,
hesitation. But you're
knowing
right. If anyone was to do it, it would be
honestly, I would rather
him.
Netflix go and say, hey, the money you got for the tax write-off for the Batgirl, we will pay you for it. So we can release the movie. I would prefer that so I can see that
Sure.
freaking movie. So I can just see an actress I really like and people I really like in a movie that hopefully is good. But all right, let's move on. What's the next topic?
You wanted to talk about AFI's best films of the year
Is this
list,
the
right?
last topic? Was that everything?
No, I mean we also needed to talk about you watching A Christmas Story.
Let's do that first. Let's do
Okay.
AFI last.
Okay.
Guys, I watched A Christmas Story for the first time ever. I did. And you know what? I enjoyed it. I have never seen it before. I don't know why. I feel like every family just gets their little niche of Christmas movies. I think like that's just kind of how you grow up. Like Elf, The Grinch, Jim Carrey's The Grinch. Like those were our go-tos. One year we watched Kung Fu Panda. Yeah.
I mean, was it because it was Christmas time, or was it on a whim?
My family has a lot of traditions that we held for a long time. Obviously, now that we're older, we live different places. We're all starting to form our own. But one of our traditions growing up, and again, after this call, I'd love to hear one of your favorite traditions you did, and involving any sort of film or Christmas themes. But one of our traditions, because I have 3 siblings, is that we would all stay like depends on the house we were living in, moved around a handful of times, but we would stay in the basement or the upstairs, like in a playroom where there was a TV, and we would all just sleep in sleeping bags on the couches, and we'd watch a Christmas movie. We'd fall asleep, just me and my siblings, and that was one of our things. And so many years we did The Grinch. It's my sister's favorite Christmas movie of all time. Elf happened a lot. One year, everybody was like, let's watch Kung Fu Panda. That sounds kind of cool. One year, my brother and I, like 3 years ago, one of the last times we did that tradition, we watched Dunkirk. So one year, Nick and I, just the 2 of us, watched Star Wars. So it just it depends. Do you have a tradition that's centered around any Christmas movies that you just family did growing up?
Let me think. My sister's favorite Christmas movie probably is Jim Carrey's The Grinch. Her dog
I think it is for a
actually
lot of people.
Her dog is named Max, which is named after Max the dog in that movie because she just loved the lines like bashing on Max so much. That's just one of the running jokes.
It's the beauty of it.
Of Cringe, and she's able to quote that movie super well. So that was definitely one of our go-tos. I guess for me, when it comes to you never seeing A Christmas Story, is just blasphemous to me because that probably was our go-to Christmas movie when it comes to watching it with my cousins. Because it would be on TBS. I don't know if they still do this now, but they used to do this thing where they would play that movie 24 hours. So I remember there being some Christmases where we would have it on mute in the background as we were like opening presents or, just being around the family. And it was just, that much of a staple growing up. So yeah, just whenever I hear people say that they've never seen A Christmas Story, it's like, but obviously it's on TBS. How would you not have seen?
You also, your family, I feel like has always knowing you so long. I mean, we've been
Hmm.
friends for I think what are we at 20? Man, what
Almost
I think we're at
25 years, right?
no, yeah. I think that's about where we're at. 25 years coming up.
Yeah.
I think we're just past it. I
Hmm.
think, or we're
Does this
just about to get to it. Yeah.
does this look like a heart? I don't know.
Um, I feel like your family always grew up a little bit more with those older school movies because, like, I haven't even seen
Yeah,
like Miracle on
traditional.
34th Street. I've never seen that movie either. I've seen clips of A Christmas Story.
There's another
Some of
one.
those clips I've seen. We're trying to use the Christmas season as a chance to catch up on some of those. We're
Hmm.
kind of watching whatever. I mean, we probably will get to Miracle on 34th, and I'll get a
Hmm.
chance to see it. Last night we watched the
Classic.
night before that comedy movie that came out in 2015, 2014, something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Still pretty funny. Michael Shannon is hysterical in that.
yeah. I thought so.
Because I wanted to laugh. And we were kind of looking though. They're like you can think of the greats Christmas movies,
Hmm.
but they're like I think Christmas Story, Elf,
Hmm.
Home Alone. Home Alone huge in my family. That's my mom's favorite Christmas movie.
See,
Huge
I didn't.
in our
I actually
family.
didn't grow up with Home Alone as a kid. That
No
was the
wonder
one
you don't
that
understand its relation to Die Hard. That makes sense. Die Hard, another incredible
I
Christmas movie.
I
From
did
day
finally
one,
watch it like a few years ago, but
Home Alone.
yeah, it's a nice movie. I like it.
Oh,
Yeah,
Home Alone's great. It's hysterical. I love Home Alone. And
yeah.
it really just depends on that nostalgia. I don't think they don't make Christmas movies like they used to. We don't get those same
No,
style Christmas movies anymore
at
because
all.
when we were debating if we wanted to watch the night before, we talked about Miracle on 34th Street. And there's another older Christmas movie that's very famous. I can't think of it. Uh
Um, you said Miracle on 34th Street. You're probably thinking of Christmas. Oh shoot. Angel Gets Its Wings. Why can I not think of the movie now?
I don't know.
Crap. I'll look
But
it up
like
now
we
because it's
did
gonna
talk
drive me
about
nuts.
those, but we both kind of weren't in the mood for like an older movie that we felt we needed to really focus on. We wanted something to laugh at, so we chose to go with a comedy, more recent comedy. But like they just don't like even when we were looking, like I was at some Christmas
Got
like
it.
what's it called?
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah, actually, I think I
Yeah.
have seen It's a Wonderful Life. I just think it's been a long time.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, sure, sure.
but it's like some of the like rom-coms around Christmas and things like that we were just looking up last night
Mm-hmm.
like have horrible reviews or like some are just clearly like it had to be that nostalgic bait. There really are, I feel like those handful of Christmas movies that everybody goes to for a reason because they just don't make them like that anymore.
No,
um
definitely not.
but you did
I,
watch those stop motion animation bad boys back in the day, though. We
oh
know you
yeah,
did. I'm
oh yeah,
trying to
oh
get
yeah.
her. I'm trying to get Autumn to watch the Jack Frost movie. Let's get Michael Keaton back in the snowsuit. I'm ready. I haven't watched that movie in decades, and I'm ready. I want to play a drinking game to it. We don't condone that. We don't endorse that unless they want to pay us any sponsors. We'd be willing. But
I actually have never seen Jack Frost. I'll
oh,
say
it's
that.
so
I've never
bad in the
seen it.
best way possible, man. It's
Even as a kid, I could tell that. I think I remember seeing commercials for it, and I'm like obviously as a kid, like you can overlook a lot of like bad stuff, but even that one, I was like, I don't know,
yeah.
that doesn't look right.
Oh,
like
it's
that.
bad. I miss it. But like even like Disney came out a couple years ago with that Noel movie with Anna Kendrick and Bill Hader, which I watched a couple years ago when it came out and I liked it, but they just don't make Christmas like they used to. And I don't think it has anything to do with being woke. I don't think it has anything to do with do we talk about Santa and anything like that. I just don't think they make them like they used to. The outside of Klaus. Klaus by far is an
Yeah,
absolute 10 out of 10 banger of a
that's
Christmas
true.
movie.
That's true.
Um
No, I don't know. I worry that people, well, I mean, not just the industry, but people in general kind of lose, I don't know, the Christmas spirit, as corny as that sounds, but like, I don't know, maybe I'm just in a
they're
bubble of
all
my own,
Scrooges.
but
They're all
yeah,
Scrooges.
yeah, I think so. Like,
What's
I don't
your
know, I don't know about you, but this year I've noticed like the decrease in like people putting up Christmas lights going down, you know? It could just be my own bubble, but it
I think it
just,
might. The difference for me is for the audience listening at home. Kyle and
yeah.
I both have spent almost our entire lives in Montana until I decided to move across the country last year.
Mhm.
And so for me, like it always used to be like you have to find that neighborhood, like back in
Right.
the day, back home, because our towns were so small. You got to find that
Mhm.
neighborhood. You got to find that one house that does something crazy. Here, oh man, you drive around
It's
anywhere,
different.
you're seeing.
That's
It's
good.
sometimes hard to see on the
Yeah.
road because it's like driving at dusk because there's just lights everywhere and everyone's got their high beams on. It's ridiculous. Nobody knows how to drive. That's what I've learned. Nobody knows how to drive. They're all just
we
a
knew
bunch of
that
idiots.
already.
But the difference is just the people got bigger. People back home say it's it's all the people out of state. No, it's not. You're just as bad as them. It's just more people who don't know what they're doing. But anyway, I have a question. What's your go-to Scrooge movie? When you go to those Christmas Carol movies, what's your go-to? Because there's so many. There's the Muppets. There's the old school one. There's the Donald Duck one. Excellent Donald Duck one. And then there's the Jim Carrey hybrid CGI craziness. Another one I've never seen.
I finally caught that one last year, I think.
Did you like it?
It was fine.
See, I caught Polar Express for the first time last year, and I felt
That's a little surprising. It was
I'd seen clips of it. The Polar Express was always like if we were at a daycare or you were at a buddy's house, it was on, but we were always too busy in the corner trading Pokemon cards, getting sweaty, getting the Power Rangers out, go. You know what I'm saying? Anyway.
That was a repeat viewing one growing up. Honestly, like, now I don't rewatch it, but I don't know. I'm sure if I did rewatch it, I'd be like, it has a special place. You
remember when that animation was the whole rage? It started with that Handlebars song. I can ride my bike with no handlebars. It started with that. Then Beowulf, all those movies. But
the director, the Forrest Gump director, he suddenly had a weird kick of trying Zemeckis. He really wanted.
He's right there.
Real.
He made that. That's Back to the Future, baby.
Oh, I thought you meant he's behind me. No, he just had a weird string of,
he did.
I don't know I don't know, man. If you get to a point and you want to try something different, I guess try something different, but
guys, comment below
wasn't quite a success.
Comment below what your favorite what are your go-to movies? Like Kyle's talking, growing up Polar Express, Christmas Story. Mine was very much Home Alone, Elf, those. What are yours? Because we would love to know. Obviously, Kyle and I both live, die, and breathe Tim Allen and the Santa Claus. Refuse to watch the show,
true.
But that one's on the list to watch this year.
I like the second one more than the first. We liked it more.
The second one is a good time. I mean, even the third one, I've got so much nostalgia for its weirdness and craziness. That's on the list to watch all over the next 2 weeks before Christmas hits. But
I'll mention one more.
Question. Please do.
I'll mention one more. Eloise at Christmas Time. It was like one that always
time. Is that an older one?
No, it might have been 90s. I want to say, but it was always on TV around Christmas time, and not like our top one, but it was always just a nice movie.
Have you seen?
It just was nice.
Time? Let's put it on the list.
All right.
No. How do you even spell Eloise? There it is. 2003. Julie Andrews.
That sounds right. Yeah.
73% of Rotten Tomatoes.
Julie Andrews is in it?
Yeah.
Does she play the maid?
She plays the nanny. Of course she does, Kyle.
The nanny. Okay. Yeah, she did. That's right. It's been a long time.
I want to put that on the list. That's going on the old list here because we were looking for stuff. No,
delightful.
Never heard of it.
Delightful.
Delightful.
Yeah.
Delightful.
Anyway, Merry Christmas, guys. Watch some
Merry early
Christmas
Christmas.
movies.
All right, let's end here. We're just going to quickly rattle off AFI, who always puts out, I think, a really good list. I mean, they've always been kind of, I think, for film buffs, the go-to on the top movies of all time because they came out years and years ago in the early 2000s or late 90s. They came out with the greatest movies of all time, top 100 list. It's always, I think, a great place to start when you are getting into movies, just to go to that list and kind of check off what you've seen. And they ranked their top movies of 2023. And I'm curious because I can't disagree with a lot of them, but I'll read them off real quick here. And I think both of us have seen most of these. I've seen a little bit more, but they have American Fiction, which is a movie I really want to see. I know it was playing at the film festival here, just didn't get a chance to see it. They've got Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, May December, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, which I finally saw, Poor Things, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. They also have Television, which is interesting. But Kyle, what sticks out about that little list to you, real quick?
That television list isn't bad either.
Yeah, I mean,
Not a
they
bad
got
list.
Abbott Elementary, just finished season 2, loved it. The Bear, incredible. Beef,
Mhm.
I never went back and finished it. I watched first 2.5 episodes and never went back to finish it. Jury Duty, I never saw, but know was real popular. The Last of Us, incredible. I dipped on the morning show. It started to get, I thought, struggled.
Oh, bummer.
Only Murders in the Building. Reservation Dogs has been on my list for a while. Succession
Same.
is by
Huh.
far, I think, the best TV show of the year. That final season was incredible. And I think it deserves it. Poker Face, never even heard of it. Anyway, thoughts?
That's a Ryan Johnson show. It's like a murder mystery show, I think, or
Really?
a
Did he
mystery
write it?
show. Yeah, I think he developed it.
Oh, I do know what this show is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
ensemble
it's
type
got
show.
Natasha in it. She's excellent. Yeah, created by Ryan Johnson. Interesting. Big fan of him. Big fan. He wrote
Mhm.
3 episodes. He directed 3 episodes. He wrote all 10, assisted writing all 10. Wow. Yeah, all right. I might have to put that on the list.
Yeah.
Anyway, thoughts on the films?
Uh, Strong list overall. It almost feels like it has a little bit of a splash of everything. I am a little surprised by May December cracking it, just because it was only so
Interesting.
recent, I suppose. But it
My
is
guess is
very good.
the writers had screeners. I bet you that all these writers have seen all the movies of the year
Yeah, that's
already. I
probably
bet you
it.
they've all got screeners.
That's probably it. Holdovers, like no one hates holdovers, so that makes
Yes.
sense.
Now, hang on real quick. I think The Holdovers can become a classic Christmas movie. I think it deserves that title. We're sitting here talking about
if
Christmas
if
movies
people are okay with being sad, then yes.
but I think it ends on a beautiful note.
Yes,
That's
it
really
hits. Yeah.
positive and is exactly what the theme of Christmas is. That when life is getting hard, you got to believe in people. I think that's what at the end of the day the Christmas spirit's all about. And I think at the end of the day, that's what The Holdovers does. I think that can become a staple. When we're talking about Christmas movies, we're not that don't rock it. We're sitting here and we're not even talking about The Holdovers. I think that's travesty. Holdovers absolutely belong there. Belongs there.
Yeah. I'm also really happy that Past Lives is on this list, and I feel like
Kyle.
it's, even though I know where you're getting at, but I was just a little worried that Past Lives wasn't going to get life when it comes to the awards race, but I'm having a feeling after seeing the list and seeing some of the talks that it's gonna come back in a good way. So, and we still need to do a review on it soon because someone finally got around to watching it. But
We're doing it right now. I'm going to talk about it right now.
Yeah, how about
I
you take it
have
off
not been so entranced by a movie in so long.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here, I have it at 4.5 stars, and I'm sitting here thinking, did I make a mistake? Is this a 5 out of 5-er? I thought halfway through the movie, this movie's incredible. I know I have not seen Poor Things. I'm very excited to see it. It is playing at one of the Film Society theaters here, hoping to maybe try and make a run into the city to go see it earlier than not. But I know everybody's talking about Emma Stone, but knowing how the Academy works, I would be shocked if Past Lives, the actors, get nominated. But I'm telling you right now, Greta Lee and Tio Yo, I'm sitting here going, these are the best performances I've maybe have seen in the last 2 decades. They were incredible. The subtlety that they do in this movie is something I'm watching this movie and I am talking out loud at the screen. I'm sitting there going, no, don't. What are you doing? Go for him. Get your boy. What are you doing? It made me fall in love with these characters. It made me feel there's no villain in the movie. It's just, it is one of the most breathtaking movies I've seen in a long time. I hate, just like you hate with Breaking Bad, that we were late to the party on those because I wanted to be first in line at this party. I wanted to be first. I know I'm saying you with Breaking Bad, like you with Breaking Bad,
okay.
me with Past Lives. I wish I was first in line at that party. I freaking loved this movie. It is a competitive year. This year is going to be one of the best years in movie history. It's competing with 94. It's, I think, already better than 2019, which was the last real great year I think we've had in movies. I think this movie has been freaking credible. I can't handle how much I loved Past Lives. I agree with you. I'm glad the Academy or people just are remembering it overall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, it's been a week for me with movies. May, December, obviously, go check out our review on that. I have different feelings, but still ended up really enjoying
Mhm.
the movie overall. But like, I went from May, December to like Maestro, then straight to Past Lives, like in like 4 days. Like,
Mhm.
and you throw Godzilla -1 in there too. Like, what an absolute trip. We've been in the theater so much. I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
December December has that effect, like all of
It
the
does.
heavy hitters really come to play. I wish it wasn't like
This
that,
year
but that's just the way
especially.
it works.
This year
Yeah.
especially though.
No, I got like a list of 6 movies I still need to finish before December
Yeah.
just to
Just well, not
hopefully
even
have.
December. For before
Yeah.
December, the end of because you and I got to film that video before
Mhm.
the new year ends. So we're time's running out. I was going to bring that up to you at the end of the video when we can sit down and
Mhm.
film our top of the year. So
Yeah. Anyway, for me with Past Lives, yeah, I echo exactly what you're saying. It's a very subtle yet powerful
oh,
portrayal of
beautiful
love
loss.
timing itself wrong in ways you
Yeah,
wish it hadn't, but yet
yeah.
just having
Acceptance.
going through acceptance, going through moving on, and I just think it was incredible watch. Just echo pretty much what you say about the
Oh,
movie. People should really give this one a shot if they haven't watched it yet. But just terrific performances. I thought the script was pretty impressive considering it's a story about love that is, again, like just not traditional in like how people tell love stories. It's love at the wrong time.
yeah,
Right, maybe
yeah.
right person, but definitely wrong time
And to be
type of
honest,
situation.
I
So
think
it was
it's
just well crafted.
I think it's just a relatable film. I think most people, not everybody, but I think most
Hmm.
people can probably go, at one point in my life, maybe I had somebody that was in that past lives kind of vein. Like,
Hmm.
would it have worked if we were in different circumstances? And I think
Yeah.
it's beautifully crafted. I told Kyle that I wanted to buy the movie because we've been both kind of on the physical media game right
Hmm.
now, especially right now. And I ended up not doing that. And now I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy it immediately. I just rented it for a couple bucks just because it was convenient the night we wanted to watch it. And now when I go to the store next for the few stores that still have DVDs, I've seen it there. If it's still there, I'm going to snag it. I'm going to order it because
Yeah.
I think the movie's brilliant. But Kyle, are there any movies on this real quick on the AFI list that you think are not on their top 10 that you think maybe should have been at least maybe, could compete in here? Not necessarily that anything needs to be taken off, but
Yes. Let me
what's
look.
missing here?
Let me look at my letterbox. Let me look at the movies I've seen this year. To see if
It
anything jogs my memory. Because I'm sure
um
there is, but again, there's just a lot of stuff coming out at like the tail end of December that I,
yeah.
just have not been able to see quite yet.
I
I
do
don't
have
know.
one.
I have one now too. I think Priscilla could have made an argument, perhaps.
Sure,
What's
sure.
yours?
Uh, it might just be recency bias, but I think The Boy and the Heron deserves to be on this list.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of critics say that they are not loving it. It doesn't feel Miyazaki in the way that Spirited Away does, in the way that um, Princess Mononoke does. I'm going to be completely honest with the audience right here. With Miyazaki, I have been lacking on some of his older things. There's a handful of stuff I've never seen. I've seen Spirited Away a
Oh,
million times. I've
gotcha.
seen Princess Mononoke a million times. And to be honest, those were really it. Outside of that, those two and Ponyo. I've seen Ponyo a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
There's a dozen I had never seen before. And part of the reason is every year I try to make it a point to go to the Ghibli Fest and to see those movies for the first time in the theater. I try to make it a point. And every year I feel like I end up getting to just see Spirited Away again. And I don't go to the other ones. And this year I changed that a little bit. I saw My Neighbor Totoro in the theater for the first time, which was brilliant. I loved it. But when we rewatched Princess Mononoke 2 weeks ago, I have made it a point to try to catch up. I tried to watch a bunch. I
Mm-hmm.
watched and I've seen Howl's a bunch. I have seen Howl's a bunch. I love Howl's. Um, but I saw Castle in the Sky for the first time the other day. I saw The Wind Rises, which is his most recent movie before The Boy and the Heron, which is a decade
Mm-hmm.
ago, came out in 2013,
Wow.
which was right when I was getting into movies in the way that I am now with you.
Yeah.
So I think I just barely missed the cutoff, but I saw that, and I think people are comparing The Wind Rises. I get that argument more than I do this. This felt like Miyazaki's own love letter to himself in the most brilliant way. There are elements of every one of his movies in this. And now I've seen almost all of them. There's only about 2 I haven't seen. And I've
Nice.
even seen clips of like IGN who have been like moments in The Boy and the Heron that remind us of other Miyazaki movies. And they were all the moments when I was watching the movie that I was like, oh, yeah, I got that feeling. I was like, this seems like this is from Spirited Away. And it felt like a love letter to himself. It might be his last movie. He's old. He's very, very old. Obviously, we want him to live a long and happy life. But I want to see. He's 82 years old. He's actually not as old as I thought he was, which is wild. But he, I thought he was more closer in the 90s. But well, there's always that weird fear with the media. They do that to George R. R. Martin too, and it is ridiculous. But he is cranking out bangers. I think The Boy and the Heron is beautiful, and I'll tell you right now, I saw the dub. I'm sure a bunch of people are screaming at their TV. Why did you see the dub? I wanted to see that live action voice cast, and I will see it in the sub. But I'll tell you right now, Robert Pattinson, holy moly. I went in confused. I was like, I'm pretty sure he's voicing this character. And then at the end of the movie, I was like, who did he voice? And the credits roll up, and I was like, oh, because the whole movie, I was like, where's his voice? Where's his voice? That's Robert Pattinson? Move over. Like all these people, why are you even going with anybody other than Robert Pattinson? This is his first ever voice work role, and he knocked it out of the park. Out of the park. Kyle,
That's
go
awesome.
in when you see the movie this week. Go in. Do you know who he voices?
No, I have no idea who voices who.
Don't look it up. Don't look it up. Don't find any videos. Go in and try and figure out who it is. It's brilliant. Anyway, I would put The Boy and the Heron there. I think The Boy and the Heron deserves to be in that list. I don't know what I would remove. I would probably remove myself May December, to be completely honest, because I didn't love that movie as much. I haven't seen Poor Things or American Fiction. They're both on my list. But anyway, yeah. Any other final thoughts here before we end it? Sorry, I kind of steamrolled you there.
No, that's all right. I liked hearing your thoughts about Miyazaki in the new movie because I'm really excited to check that one out. Yeah, and in terms of the AFI list, I think it's a pretty strong list. This award season might actually be fun for once because I think there's a lot of
competition,
and the movies like all across the board are good to great. Like there's not one where it's like we could have been without that one, and that one's not as great as people think it is. Yeah,
Maestro's incredible. Like completely deserves this list. It's going to be a competitive Oscars. I'm excited.
Yeah, like Best Actress, there's an argument for all of them so far. I'm sure.
I know. Everybody's saying right now it's got to be Emma Stone, and I just watched Past Lives, and I'm going, how is it not this girl? I mean, she is absolutely. But then you
brilliant.
May watch Greta Lee.
You may watch Poor Things soon, and
yeah,
I don't know.
And for me, it was Lily Gladstone up until now.
Yeah,
I mean, it's gonna be one heck of a race. But
never think it's over in July, guys.
Hey, was Hunger Games on that list for VFX?
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember, but that deserves to be there. I'd put that before I'd put Oppenheimer myself.
It's impressive. It's good stuff.
All right, guys, what'd you think of the episode today? Comment below. Let us know. Remember, like, subscribe, share. Help us grow. Thank you, Moonmeal patrons. Get one of these bad boys by helping us like, subscribe, and sharing. We're gonna give one out to a fan. And as always, thanks for watching, Mom.
See you guys.